haven't made one of these videos in a very long time because, well, the WWE just got a lot better compared to 2019. Those were truly the dark times. If you're watching, you know what I mean. With that said, there is one thing that's been ruined, and that is the Money in the Bank. Last weekend, the WWE made a huge mistake by having Drew McIntyre win the Money in the Bank briefcase, and they made a worse mistake later that night by giving him a failed cash-in. We're going to talk about why this was a horrible decision, but before we get there, let's talk about how Money in the Bank used to be something that was really special and awesome. The Money in the Bank made its debut in 2005 when it was showcased at WrestleMania 21, and at the time, people were not too sure about this gimmick match. Some didn't even know if it was going to last more than a few years with the company. However, all those opinions would change when Edge cashed in the briefcase on a bloody John Cena after an Elimination Chamber match. I don't think anybody will ever forget Vince McMahon popping up after the match to tell the world that Edge was going to compete for the WWE title after the war that John Cena had gone through. After a couple of minutes, Edge took advantage and became the new WWE champion to shake things up. He became the ultimate opportunist, and the Money in the Bank concept was sold. It was an instant hit. After this well-done cash-in, people couldn't wait for the next one. People loved it so much because it added a shock factor that was needed in the WWE, and the match also would go on to create so many new stars. For example, Edge. Before this, Edge was stuck in the mid-card. After that cash-in, he turned into a legend and one of the best heels in the business. The same thing applies to names like CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and The Miz. Were there some bad choices like Jack Swagger? Sure, yes, but for the most part, it was a huge success. It was doing so well that it even became a major pay-per-view. I'd even argue and say that Money in the Bank became the fourth most important pay-per-view show for a while. Not only was the gimmick match great, but other matches like CM Punk versus John Cena and other bangers would help take that event to the next level. And everything would honestly change in the year of 2012. It would be the first time that we saw an unsuccessful cash-in. John Cena failed to defeat CM Punk after the Big Show interfered, causing a disqualification, meaning that John Cena did not succeed when cashing in. The first failed cash-in with John Cena was not a bad idea. That is not the moment that ruined it. If anything, I think it was a good idea because it was cool to see that the briefcase was not a guaranteed championship. That added a totally new element, a shocking element to the concept itself. The problem with John Cena's failed cash-in is that WWE became too comfortable with that happening because the very next year, Damien Sandow would fail his cash-in on John Cena. And then a few years later, Baron Corbin also failed to cash in on Jinder Mahal. The year after that, Braun Strowman also had an unsuccessful cash-in. And after that, it just seemed like WWE just did not care about Money in the Bank the way they used to. For example, you had Mustafa Ali looking like a fool, waiting for Brock Lesnar to just show up and take the damn briefcase while he was on the top of the ladder. The man could have literally grabbed it, but no, he was staring at the Beast while the Beast was coming in the ring and just taking him out of the match. As you can see, what was once a prestigious match that would alter the future of the WWE by creating a new superstar had become a joke. However, if we had to pinpoint one exact moment where it was never the same, we gotta go back to the year of 2020 during the pandemic. The Money in the Bank was ruined in the year of 2020. As I said, that was the year of the pandemic, and the WWE had to run shows at the Performance Center. Because of this, they created an entirely new concept where the men's and women's ladder match took place at the same time. This was the first time that ever happened. It started at the bottom of the WWE headquarters in Connecticut, and the wrestlers had to get to the top of the building. It was an interesting idea. I actually kind of liked it. The more I think about it, in fact, the more I do like it. But what I didn't like was the winner of the men's ladder match. Otis would become the winner and would hold on to that briefcase. That is the exact moment where the Money in the Bank was ruined. This is a match that featured AJ Styles, Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, and Rey Mysterio. To have huge names like that, only to have Otis win it, kind of ruined the briefcase. I love Otis. I think his current run is so good, and he needs to finish his feud with Chad Gable. He's honestly slowly becoming a star now, but that was not the case back then. He was a tag team, he was a comedy act, and he wasn't anywhere near world championship material. Vince McMahon knew he made a huge mistake and then had him drop the briefcase to The Miz. I also want to point out that The Miz's cash-in was also not great. The Miz would go on to win the title and be the champion for only 1 week. What happened to the days where the briefcase meant something? What happened to the days where it would lead to a strong championship run? And what happened to the stars that it would create? All of that was ruined, and because of that, Money in the Bank became an afterthought. While Vince McMahon's decision to have Otis win Money in the Bank ruined it, I thought that things would change when Triple H took over the WWE, but unfortunately, sadly, I was wrong. It looks like Hunter might be even worse than Vince McMahon when it comes to booking the Money in the Bank briefcase. When he took over the company, Austin Theory at the time was holding the briefcase. He was in a tough position because Roman Reigns was the undisputed WWE champion, and he was not going to drop those belts to Austin Theory. There's no way that Roman was going to drop the belts. With that said, I wouldn't have been upset at all if he had a failed cash-in on Roman Reigns, especially because the bloodline was always around. But that wasn't the plan. Instead, Triple H came up with a unique idea, and he booked Theory to cash in on the United States champion, Seth freaking Rollins. This would have been a solid idea if it was a successful cash-in, but no, it was not. Austin Theory was relegated to having a failed cash-in for the mid-card title, and that made the Money in the Bank an even bigger joke. The WWE should have had him either lose to Roman or at least beat Rollins for the US title, but to lose to Seth was just wrong. A terrible decision that I'll never forget about. The next year, he made another big mistake as well in 2023. Let's be real, LA Knight was on top of the world. Everyone wanted to see him win the briefcase. He was a heavy fan favorite, but instead, Triple H booked Damian Priest, who many people were not interested in winning that match. While he's having a decent run as a champion, and I kind of liked his cash-in, I'll always say that LA Knight not winning was the wrong decision. To this day, LA Knight has not done anything too important. He hasn't won any titles despite being red hot with the crowd for years now, and I just don't get why Triple H didn't give him the briefcase. I think it's because of the long-term storytelling, but that's just a mistake. LA Knight should have won. Thankfully, Triple H had a second chance because LA Knight was in this year's Money in the Bank, and 2024 would have been perfect for him, or maybe even Chad Gable, who exploded in popularity ever since turning heel. You even have Jey Uso. The crowd loves the Yeet Master, and it would have been nice to see him finish his story and finally win a WWE Championship. Did any of them win? Nope. Drew McIntyre was booked to win it, and then he was booked to have a failed cash-in later that night because CM Punk. This was the wrong decision yet again. That feud between Punk and McIntyre is on fire. Punk just screwed Drew a month ago. There was no need for this. This moment honestly didn't do anything to move this feud forward. It just seems like Triple H didn't have any long-term plans for the Money in the Bank briefcase, and so he decided to waste it on that feud. If anything, this makes Punk look even worse in the story. It makes him look stupid. McIntyre and Punk are clearly going to have a match sometime down the line. Wouldn't it make sense for CM Punk to let Drew win this so that he can win the belt from Drew? I just don't get it. Like I said, this was unnecessary for this feud. I also don't like the argument that Cody and Gunther are going to be champions for a long time. Just don't make them champions forever. We don't need 2,000-day title reigns, or we don't need these guys to hold until 2025. I think it's fine if somebody has a reign for maybe 150, 200 days. Like, that's okay. At the end of the day, the bottom line is that I think Triple H is 0 for 3 with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and for now, the concept is ruined. Hopefully, I really do hope that things will change. I guess we'll find out next year, which kind of sucks that we gotta wait a year. But anyways, what do you guys think about the Money in the Bank concept? Do you think it's ruined or not? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video.